Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about the 5 books that have changed my life and my five favorite books. Now, basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my 5 books, and then I'm going to give you some kind of honorable mentions that are because basically I want to talk about 5 physical books, but I do have audiobooks that I really like, and I also have like ebooks that I have really like that I have on my phone. And things like that. But I'm just going to talk to you to begin with about the 5 physical books that I have that I really like, that I always go back to, that are my favorites, and discuss them with you and why I like them and how they've helped me and all that kind of stuff. So the first one I want to talk about, which I think may have been the first book I read out of these, and that is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. And the reason, now this is a great beginner self-help book, right? This is a really good beginner one because first of all, it's really easy to read. And also the message in it is really good. And I actually made a video on the book. Well, it was a section of the book. It's at the beginning. Susan Jeffers talks about the 5 truths about fear. And I made a video on those 5 truths. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that if you are interested in it, because it may be the case that you watch that video and you think, you know what, I don't think this is for me. But if you've been kind of stuck, and if you feel, you get really anxious when it comes to doing new things, and basically what it does is it reassures you that what you're afraid of, it's not uncommon, right? Like, it teaches you that even though you're afraid, you got to realize that everyone experiences that kind of thing, and you're not weird for feeling afraid about something, especially if it's something new and you're stretching past your comfort zone. So it's really, really powerful. I think it's a great starter if you are just getting into self-help. And also, it's not very long either. I could read this over a weekend or just over a few days. So it doesn't take long to read. And it's, like I said, it's really easy to read as well. So Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers is the first one. So another one, which is a bit bigger, a bit more hefty, and again, this is another one of the first self-help books I ever read, even though I think it's, no, it is a self-help book. I thought it would be personal development, but it is a self-help book. And that is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, which I think out of all of my self-help books is the one that I've actually read the most. Now this one is a hefty, it's hefty. Let me see exactly how many pages it is. It's well into the 500s by the looks of things. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's like a Harry Potter book, when those massive Harry Potter books that were about back in the day. So anyway, what's really cool about this one is that there's it teaches you a lot about your own psychology in a way, right? And another thing about it is that it gives you some really cool exercises to do. And in Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, there's also exercises as well, but there's a lot more in this one. And you can even write in the book as well. It's got like pages. Well, it's got like sections in it which you can write in. It's just like really cool. It's really empowering. And I really like, I've read complaints about it, but I personally like the way that Tony Robbins writes. It almost makes me think that it may be dictated, because when you're reading it, you can kind of hear Tony's voice. I don't know if you've like listened to any like the things like his personal power course and his Get the Edge course and stuff. Those are one of some of my favorite audio programs. But anyway, it's actually, when you're reading it, you can actually hear Tony's voice in a way, because he writes like how he speaks. So that's also really, really important. And also it goes like across the board. It talks about the vocabulary you use and how that can disempower you. It talks about, like visualization, all those kinds of things. And yeah, even though it's a big book, it's a really good one. There's so much in it. There's so much in it. You could probably study it for years and still not get it 100%. Like, still not retain it all and stuff. So another great one. So obviously this one's a classic, and you hear about this one all the time, right? Whenever you, go onto like someone's like self-help channel and stuff, they always talk about this one. But the reason why they do is because it's so important, and that is, of course, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Absolutely essential if you want to get better at communicating with people. This was a complete game changer for me when it came to how I communicate with other people. Transformative. get it, please. If you get any of these books, get this one. Get this one. This will change your relationships with your family. It'll change your relationships with your friends. It'll change your relationships with your clients, if you have clients. It's going to really show you, and it's not that long either. Like it's only like about 260 pages long. Like, it's not a long book, and even though it was like written like over 100 years ago now, I think, or it's getting close to that now, it still reads really well. Like, it's not really complicated to read, even though it was written 100 years ago. So it's absolutely essential reading, I think. So really, like, please, if you haven't read it, you need to read it. How to Win Friends and Influence People. So another one, which again is really informative, is Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. And again, this was the first book that actually opened me up to the law of attraction. I think a lot of people come to the law of attraction through The Secret, and things like that. But this was the first book I ever read that mentioned it. And then I think I read this, and then I watched The Secret probably about a year or so after reading this. But I didn't really, when I read this, like, it didn't seem so metaphysical. Like, it was very informative in a way. But anyway, this book, Maximum Achievement, it goes into so many different areas. It goes into parenting. It goes into your relationships. It's another good all-rounder self-help book. And if you want to begin on, personal development and self-help, this is another good starter book, because it does cover so many areas. And it does talk about some of the more metaphysical stuff. And it does so in a very clear way, very clear and understanding way. It talks about money. It talks about success. Being more disciplined. It's really good, and I think this is one of the best out there for self-help, and a general across the board kind of thing, because it does go into so many different areas. So it's a good life book in that kind of sense. So the next one I want to talk about, which is another small one, and this is the last kind of physical book that I have that I want to talk about when it comes to my favorites. And that is 7 Strategies to Wealth and Happiness, for Wealth and Happiness, by Jim Rohn. And this book, this one again is a really small one. It's another good one that another good beginner one, actually. And the reason why this one is so good is because there is like things like a goal setting workshop in it. Helps you set your goals. He has like a no-nonsense way of like explaining things. It's very, very clear. It's very, very precise. And there's a lot of things in here, that makes you feel extremely empowered. Like, it's really motivational in a way. It's amazing. And I think I really like the way that Jim Rohn talks. And again, it's kind of like with Tony Robbins' book. When I'm reading this book by Jim Rohn, it's like I'm hearing Jim Rohn, because there's a lot of his like lectures here on YouTube and stuff that I really love to listen to and watch and stuff. So I'm very used to the way that he speaks. So when I'm reading this book, I can literally hear him in my head. But again, it's really, really cool. And it's another thing that can really help you if you are, getting into self-help and you're trying to understand what these kind of principles mean. So this is, again, another good starter book. And I can't really decide which one is my absolute favorite, because they have all changed my life a lot in many, many, many different ways. And I'm so grateful to the authors. I'm so grateful to those books. And I appreciate them so much, because, when I just need a little bit of nugget of wisdom, if I'm not feeling up to it, I can just go to them if I really want to. And that's so good. It's so empowering to have these just near you so that you can just reach out and grab. So I want to talk about some honorable mentions, because obviously I don't just have physical books. I have audiobooks as well. And I also have ebooks as well. So a couple of the ebooks that I've really enjoyed over the years is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, which is a bit more on the metaphysical side, but I really like reading things about the law of attraction, and that's a book that really goes into that kind of stuff. Another ebook would be the Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks. The Teachings of Abraham, and also Ask and It Is Given as well. That's another one of their books, ebooks I have, but I don't actually have the physical books. I just have the ebooks. When it comes to audiobooks, obviously Mel Robbins' books. I don't have any of her books physically, but you know, the 5 Second Rule, I really love that audiobook, and also the High Five Habit, that which came out not that long ago. I really love that book as well. Also, when it comes to ebooks, actually, I just remembered The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. That's another good one. And yeah, I think that's about it. You know, those are my favourites. You know, those are the ones that I know I'll always go back to eventually and want to read. I guess another physical book, which I guess is another honourable mention, is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Obviously, that one is a very, very popular one. And obviously, the movie and the documentary is popular as well. And that's another one that I go back to just because it feels good to read. And it's also really quick to read as well. But it's just a nice pick-me-up kind of book that I go back to that just, you know, puts you in a better mood and stuff like that. So anyway, those are the books that really changed my life. Those are the books that I go back to a lot, that I really love, that I love reading. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you found it informative. Please let me know down in the comments your favourite books. Let me know down in the comments, you know, what you thought, if you read any of the books that I've read, and what your thoughts are on those. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.